Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's been a long time since I last uploaded anything makeup related because these days I've just been finding it much easier to share my makeup tutorials on Instagram. So for those of you who want to watch more makeup content and you don't know where to find me, you can find me at MONGABONG on my Instagram. I'm gonna leave it up here as well. But today, because I've got a follower's request for me to do a contouring video, and I was thinking it's a good time to share with you guys how I usually do my contour, because now we don't always have to wear our masks when we're out and about anymore. So I find that a lot of you guys are starting to dabble back into makeup, which is a very good sign. I'm very excited. So yes, I'm gonna do two different types of contour for two different types of occasions on both sides of my face. On the left, I'm gonna be doing a little bit more everyday, something more beginners friendly, and on the right I'm gonna be doing a little bit more chisel, more date night, more glamorous kind of a contour. So yeah, let's get started. First, let's tackle the more natural side. Especially for those of you who are beginners at makeup or even with contouring, you'll find that typically contour powders are much easier to control compared to cream contours. So I would highly recommend you guys to go and add to cart some of these contour powders. Do take note, don't go for something that is a little bit too warm. Go for something that is a little bit more on a cooler tone or at least neutral. So this one is the Etude contour powder palette. As you can see, it's very well loved. This one comes with two different shades. Some of the other contour powders that I highly recommend would be your Too Cool for School Art Shading. It's called Art Shading Powder. I can't remember what it's called. Peripera also has one which is called V Shading. So these three are my top three powders to use. I've also got Hoola Lite over here. So for the longest time I was using Hoola, but that one was a little bit too warm. So if you try to contour, if you have my skin tone, if you try to contour with Hoola, I find that it gets a little bit muddy. So thank goodness they came out with Hoola Lite, and I think that this shade is really perfect for our Asian skin tone. So for tools, you will also want to have on hand a blush brush. So I like to go in with something like more fluffy like this. I also like to go in with something a little bit more tapered like this, as well as a smaller brush for the nose contour. So this smaller brush is from Fenty. It's an eyeshadow brush in 240. So yeah, I'm gonna show you guys how I usually like to go in with it. Let's use this palette as an example. So first, you want to go in with a lighter shade with a bigger fluffy brush. Swirl it around, dab off the excess, and where you want to be contouring is where your cheekbones are. So the easiest way to find your cheekbones is to do this face. My hollows are here, but if you see my entire overall face shape, if I were to put like a black line here, it would actually accentuate my cheekbones a little bit more, which is not the kind of look that I want. I like it a little bit more Asianized, a little bit more like soft and youthful. So what I like to do is I actually like to hit my contour on my cheekbone instead, and then slowly move it down. So of course you want to start from darkest, nearest to the hairline, moving inwards. So this should be the first part of your stroke, and then you slowly it in. So you want to be very light-handed with it, and because we use the lighter shade, it's very forgiving. So I'm just slowly bringing it down along the sides of my jawline as well. You want to avoid like just dusting it across the entire face, because that would actually make your entire skin look tan rather than contoured. Another place you want to contour, under. This is to get rid of the double chin. So yeah, you can see it's a very nice subtle shape. For those of you with a wider forehead, you can just push your hair back and then push back into the line, the hairline. So this is just to create a very subtle shadow. Your jawline just pops out a little bit more. Alright, so next up, we're going in with the more tapered brush and taking a darker shade. I'm gonna go in with a little bit more of a precise spot contour. So doing it just here and focusing only on the points where I want to just really give it a very, very chiseled look. This 90 degrees over here. Next up for the nose, I typically like to go in with the lighter shade first, but I'm gonna demonstrate it with the Hoola Lite from Benefit because I find that this color is really, really nice for the nose. So for me, I mean the basic guideline to contour your nose is to kind of just start around the brow areas. But if you have a very long nose like me, you want to start further out so it just kind of flows in a more like gentle way instead of two straight lines. And I'm starting my first one here. And then I'm slowly just dragging to the tip of my nose, and I like to round it out a little bit here, just like so. Instantly, you can see this line popping right out. Don't worry, we'll clean it up later on. Some other areas you can consider contouring would be underneath your lips, for fuller lips, here for a deeper cupid's bow, and I usually go with the lighter shade, okay? If you use something dark, it's gonna look very dirty and it's gonna look like you have an invisible mustache, which is something that you don't want. So a very important part about contouring is also the highlighting, so which is why I like to leave my concealer, something like this, a matte lighter shade concealer, and use it as a highlight. You can see how it's gonna change. I'm gonna just put 2 dots on the nose, and then there's also here which you can highlight. This one helps to clean up this area and just make the shadow pop a lot more. And that's when you want something like this, a small little sponge to just dab it. You don't want to drag it or anything, you just want to dab it because you want it to be at the area where you want it to be, and you don't want to spread it out too much. Whatever that's left, go around the sides, just slightly below the contour line that you just did. You can already see it pop so much more. Dab, dab, dab. And also for here, dab, dab, dab. Don't forget your chin. So you can always go back to soften everything out again. At this point, I'm not using any glitter yet. I just want to give it a very clean, contoured look, like so. Another trick that I want to teach you guys is to use a powder you can bake. So for the more natural side, I'm just going in with a little bit of loose powder on areas that I highlight. So just around here, the nose, chin, and that is it. Now on to the more dramatic side. I like to go with my cream contour stick. So this is the Fenty Match Sticks in Mocha. You would see that a lot of people who do very dramatic looks, they will go in with this. So it's a little bit harder to control. I'm gonna show you guys later why. But you know, if you're someone that loves that ABG look, a little bit more westernized in your contour, cream contours are really easy and they last all day. So same thing, you want to be contouring at an area that you know you want to hide. For me, I like to really just go very, very chiseled because this is more of like an ABG kind of look. And I will also apply it here and all the way down here, as well as here. So the way you contour really depends on the type of look that you're trying to achieve. And with cream contours, I highly recommend a beauty sponge. I generally don't like to work with a wet sponge for contours, so it's just dry. And I am just dragging it in to out of the face. If you want to move it inwards, that's when it gets a little bit muddy. So I would say either pat on the spot or drag it from inward to outward. And don't forget the bottom. So same for here. I'm just pushing it to my hairline. So as you can see, this side is so much darker compared to this side. Let me just move my light over here so you guys can see clearer. So you can see this side is definitely a lot more pigmented and opaque. But of course, because you're using a cream, it's also a little bit more smudged. So you gotta be very, very careful. The same thing, I like to go in with a highlight color. This one is Bamboo, to just clean it up a little bit. So I apply underneath, apply around here, and around here, just to clean up a little bit to get that very precise line. Okay, better. So for the nose contour, if you like to go in with cream, you can. Same brush. You just want to very, very lightly do that. And same thing, start from the edge and move down. Just a little bit. Taking a cleaner brush to just blend it out. Conceal the sides of the line for a more clean cut. Next up, you want to bake with this. I like to go in with a lot of powder. So you take a dry sponge and then you load it up and you do this. Also along the sides of the nose. So in the meantime, I'm gonna be doing my blush. I'm using Willa on this side, which is a more like a baby pink shade. And then we've got Pompom on the other side. This one is a more like pomegranate, darker kind of color. So I will just concentrate this a little bit on the outer corner and in a more V shape. Just blending it with my contour. Time for me to get rid of the powder. And for now, I am going to apply a lip oil on this side, and I'll try to make this lip a little bit more dark and ABG looking. So I'm just using my Anastasia Beverly Hills lip stick in Dusty Rose. I'm doing it on this side. For highlight, I'm using my Hourglass Ambient lighting for this side, which is a more like all over kind of glow. Whereas on this side, I'm going a little bit stronger with my Charlotte Tilbury Film Star Bronze and Glow. This one is a little bit more like, you can see. And then tip of the nose. Chin. There you have it. Alright, what do you guys think? I hope you guys enjoyed this contour tutorial and learned a little bit here and there. And if you like this kind of videos, let me know in the comments box down below. I would love to film more for you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!